So first, starting from mapping outcomes, what we're going to be really looking at here is working backwards. We start with the target outcome. In this case, we need to go twice as fast, right? We have this growing backlog. We need to be able to accelerate to tackle all of that work. We also want to make sure that we don't let quality drop while we're trying to go faster. It's no good for us to go faster if we just end up breaking things or accumulating a bunch of technical debt or creating more bugs than features. So we can focus on one primary outcome and we can have a secondary outcome to make sure that we don't slide off the rails or we don't go too far from what good looks like. The second thing we look at is why. This is powerful because it can place the outcome in the context of our external customers, our internal customers, stakeholders, individual contributors, partners. We can start to look at that outcome from a number of different dimensions and help it really resonate with folks, because we want folks to feel like they own this outcome and they're invested in delivering it. That's going to power this. That's what lights a fire underneath this effort and gets it started with a lot of positive momentum. The next thing that we want to look at is obstacles. So what are the things that we're going to trip on as we start heading down the path towards our desired outcome? This is important because it helps folks surface things that they're worried about or things that we've failed in the past that we want to avoid this time around. Things that are clearly in our way or things that we just don't know about. Like we could surface major unknown factors that we need to understand better so that we can either avoid them or leverage them in our favor. And that brings us to investigations. How can we find out more about our obstacles so we can avoid them? How can we find out more about our target outcome so that we can head towards it most directly, right? If we understand more about the landscape, we can understand what is the best path to get to our destination. And then last, we want to understand what measures we can use to see progress. So just like as we are navigating with Google Maps, the measurements inside of Google Maps are going to tell us whether we're going over the speed limit, when we're going to arrive at our destination, the difference between different possible paths that we could take, the cost of any tolls that we might incur along the way. All these measurements are valuable and they all help us understand whether we're taking the best route towards the destination and whether we're going to reach it when we think we will, or whether we're going to be late and we need to accommodate something to really stay on track. So there's a great comment in the chat about how this evokes thought and discussion, and that is really powerful. There's a lot of discussion that goes on through this. It's very positive. In some cases, it's challenging discussion because there's a lot of conversations that this sparks that teams don't have on a regular basis. That's a very positive thing. This gives folks a forum to talk about things that are really, truly important. And it's constructive because we can talk about specifics, right? We give folks opportunities to talk about what's most important. What are the obstacles that we could face? By giving those conversations space and facilitating those conversations and steering them in positive directions and capturing the outputs in real time, it's really creating the most positive and constructive form of team collaboration that you wouldn't necessarily get from just a meeting or a brainstorming session without any structure. This really helps folks stay focused and follow the path that is building out this, actually breaking down this target outcome, but building out this path towards our target destination.